Okay guys, today we're going to look at tessellations, looking at the three different types of transformations we could do in to tessellate something. So the first way is probably the most common way to tessellate an object, and this is creating a slide. So if you have, or a translation, if you have an object here, we could tessellate this by sliding it over, and we've noticed here we slide it over. Most tessellations you see, or the regular tessellations, are comprised of translations where you just slide, take a piece here, right, and slide it over a bit, right, where we would create, ooh, that's ugly, where we would create a tessellation slowly by just sliding it over like so, right? And then we could you might say, well, that's not going to tessellate, it's not going to fall into there. That's why we use our second type of tessellation, which is a flip. So this is flipping that type on a axis, and if you look at this, we could then notice that if I flip this over, I could then create a dual tessellation where I flipped along this line right here, right? So a flip is where you mirror an image, mirror an image in some way. So I flipped it along here, or like that. And that is a flip or a reflection. And the last type is a rotation, where you take a point and you rotate it around the point. And this is very commonly used as, right, we know this is 90 degrees, and then we rotate our tessellation to form this larger tessellation here of 360 degrees, and then we could tessellate that. So a rotation is where we rotate object 90 degrees, 60 degrees, whatever, to tessellate it. This is much more common in Escher style tessellations, which we will look at later this week. So here, if a lot of the times when we look at rotations, we rotate along the midpoint. Whenever we talk about the midpoint, that's the middle place in between two lines. So here, what they've done is they've taken it and then they've rotated it 180 degrees to form a tessellation here, and you could see this quadrilateral being tessellated. So rotations are very common in creating tessellations. And lastly, you might say, well, what type of tessellation or transformation did they use here? And we could see that, well, first of all, going from A to B, we could slide it over, right? There's a slide that happened here, some could say. You could say there's a rotation here of 120 degrees. Or you could say there's been two reflections, one there and one there. So as you could see, there's a variety of ways to go from A to B. You could slide it, you could rotate it, or you could reflect it. Just start looking at, some tessellations are pretty obvious if it's a rotation or reflection or translation. So that's what you're going to be exploring a little bit this week. Hope this helps. Bye.